Okay, guys, I think we should be back on Facebook now.
All right, guys. If we are back, give us drop some comments wherever you're listening, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on Facebook. Let us know if you can see us. We are still very much testing out our new way of doing things. So,
I
uh,
just got a notification that we're live on Facebook.
all right, yeah, I just got it. I just got it as well. Okay. All right, so let's pick up the conversation from where we started. I'm not sure where we froze at, but let's go back through this uncomfortable Egyptian creation story again, okay? And we'll kind of keep it we'll kind of keep it short for people, and then we'll pick up from there. But so we see one of the creation stories that the Israelites would have been familiar with would have been one of the Egyptian creation myths, and we actually learn about it. Alton talked about it a little bit earlier from Coffin Text Spell 714, where Atom separates himself from the waters, and he creates himself. He builds himself as he wished. Now, the interesting thing is we learn from a pyramid text spell called Pyramid Text Spell 527 how Atom creates the other gods of Egypt, and this is a very uncomfortable. So if you've got children, you might want to cover some ears for this part, but it's a mature content. But it says Trimper Longman in his commentary says Pyramid Text Spell 527 informs us that Atom then produced Shu, who was the Egyptian god of the air, and Tefnut, who was the goddess of moisture, by, brace yourselves, masturbating. And, and Pyramid Text Spell 527 says this. It says, Adam evolved by growing a phallic in Heliopolis. He put his penis in his grasp that he might make orgasm with it, and the two siblings were born, Shu and Tefnut. So in this text, we see a god in the Egyptian mythology creating himself from the chaotic waters and then masturbating other gods of the pantheon into existence. Whereas, in contrast, in the biblical creation story, we see one God who is not created, who is uncreated, who is there in the beginning, who creates the heavens and the earth, and he alone is God. There are no other gods except for him. This is a very robust monotheism in contrast to the polytheism that we see in these texts. And so there's a little bit of a variation there too. I want to mention in the pyramid text spells. There's another version represented in Pyramid Text Spell 600, which substitutes sneezing for masturbating. It says, Adam, scarab, when you became high as the high ground, when you rose as the Bin in the Phoenix enclosure in Heliopolis, you sneezed Shu, and you spat Tefnut, and you put your arms about them as the arms of Ka, and then you, Ka, might be in them. So are they masturbated into existence? Are they sneezed into existence? We don't really know, but it's gross either way. So what do you guys got to say about that?
Yeah, and either way, if you look at the Genesis creation story,
Yeah,
you look at the creation story of God, you see that God created everything and it was good.
yeah,
So everything that God created was good.
mm-hmm.
Or in the end, we see that it was very good.
Right,
So it looks like God put a lot of care into what He created.
right,
He created things with a purpose. He created things intentionally, and He created things that He loved.
yeah,
As opposed to, we even see they use the word spat.
mm-hmm.
God didn't just spit humans into existence. He didn't sneeze humans into existence.
Right.
He took great care in the creation.
Yeah, that's very good. Very good points. And so that's some of the differences with the Egyptian stories. Now let's talk a little bit now about some of the Babylonian myths. So um, there was a Babylonian myth called Enuma Elish, and it says it gets its names from the opening words, which says "when on high," and it says it was best known. It's on page 29 of that commentary. It says it is the best known of the Babylonian creation accounts, and it is the ancient text that scholars most believe informs the shape of Genesis 1 and 2. At the opening of the story, we learn that there are two deities who are simply there and presumably always were. You have Tiamat, the female, who represents, here we go again with some similar themes, the waters, the fresh waters, and then Apsu, who represented the salt waters. It says their waters mingle, suggesting sexual intercourse, and they produce a new generation of gods. These divine children, who were well known to the original audience of Enuma Elish as the gods they worshipped, disturbed the sleep of their parents. Apsu, the father, determined to kill the children in spite of Tiamat's objections. However, one of the younger gods, E, the god of wisdom, learned of this plot and killed his father by a preemptive strike. So here we have gods in conflict with one another. Right? We have gods fighting against one another. We have chaos. We've got watery chaos here. And gods are at war with one another. And it says he kills him with a preemptive strike. He placed his throne on the corpse of his father, the flood waters. E had subdued the dangerous primeval waters represented by his father, but his act enraged his mother, who now sought vengeance. She determined to war against her children with the help of a demonic horde headed by Kingu. And when confronted by this threat, E knew he was no match for his mother. So he issued a challenge to the divine assembly. So we've got this concept of divine council here, right? Divine assembly for a champion to step forward. That champion was none other than his son Marduk, or Marduk. Marduk agreed to fight Tiamat on the condition that if he succeeded, the divine assembly would agree to make him king of the pantheon. Thus, the Enuma Elish explains how Marduk became the most important god in the Babylonian pantheon. The battle between Marduk and Tiamat was ferocious, but Marduk eventually conquered and killed Tiamat. After his victory, Marduk created the cosmos as we know it, and Enuma Elish Tablet 4, lines 135 through 141 says, he calmed down. Then the Lord was inspecting her carcass. So this is Marduk inspecting the carcass of Tiamat. It says, then he might divide the monstrous lump and fashion artful things. He split her in two like a fish for drying. Half of her he set up and made as a cover heaven. And he stretched out the hide and assigned watchmen and ordered them not to let her waters escape. So she's the primeval waters. He halves her up. He uses half of her to make the heavens. And it says to create land, he pushed her back her waters. He created boundaries. In the passage that follow, he takes the gods and he places them in the heavens as stars. So, interesting thing here is in contrast to the Babylonian accounts, we see the God of Scripture not bringing the creation into existence through war, through chaos, right? We see the one God, and we see it, it's the total opposite of that. It's not war, it's not chaos, it's order, it's peace, right? The God of creation, the Spirit of God is hovering over the face of the waters, right? And then,
is there a minute mark on it by chance? Maybe there's a timer or something like that? Because that's about the same amount of time frame that it done last time.
Yeah, I just got a notification saying it ended on Facebook.
Yep. So we're still live on YouTube.
Just bear with us, guys.
We're just trying to figure out why we keep dropping